Guys, welcome to Nintendo 64 Fun Time. Got a quick video for you today, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because I came across a few things on eBay just while I was looking for games. And it is reproduction cartridges for the Nintendo 64. A few months ago they came out with a pretty cheap coder and pretty cheap boards to where you can program Nintendo 64 cartridges, and since then there's been a lot of cartridges up for sale on eBay. A lot of them are shipping from China and India, and they're selling for about the $20 to $25 range per cartridge. And I just wanted to let you know that once these kind of become a little bit more prevalent, there's going to be a huge probably resale, especially for games like Conker's Bad Fur Day and stuff. So if people are buying these and then going to resell them for higher prices, be very aware. If the game itself is over about $50, they are starting to put repros out for these things. So if your game is about over $50, just be aware that there's the possibility of it could be a repro now. The unfortunate thing about this is it's dropping the price of the original cartridges quite a bit. That's fine. I collect to play, not to make money off my games, but it's just an unfortunate thing. But a few things to look out for. Like I said, they are coming mostly from China and India. But one of the biggest things to look for, one, are just pictures. Is there just one picture? Does it look like a stock picture? I would be very aware of that. If they don't have a picture of the front and back and the board, be aware of that, especially if you're going to spend close to $100 for a game. And some of the biggest things to look for, I'm using Conker's because it's a little up there in price, but one of the things to look for is the rare symbol. These labels are going to be very, very crisp. They're going to be have a little bit of a glossy finish, and they're going to be very high quality. You are always going to be able to read the Nintendo very, very well. It's not going to look pixelated, it's not going to look bad, and especially if it's a rare game, right there you're going to be able to read rare very, very well. It's going to be very clear, very crisp. Make sure people have high quality images. Another thing is the Nintendo quality seal. A lot of the reproduction print labels are a little bit lighter than the actual one, so use that as a comparison. And another thing too, I'm using my EverDrive here just as a comparison because this is a reproduction cart, so it's a really good way to compare and contrast. I'm not ripping the EverDrive, I'm just using it as an example. If I put these up together, it's very hard to see on my camera, but the reproduction cart actually is a little bit lighter. I don't know if with the lighting it actually looks like the Conker's one is lighter, but this one is noticeably lighter, and there's less texture to it. All these Nintendo cartridges almost had a little bit of a texture, kind of a graininess to it, while the reproduction cartridges, they don't. They're very smooth. And again, if you're not seeing the back of the cartridge, don't buy it. That's just my advice. But you are going to have the Nintendo 64 label, you are going to have the Nintendo safety screws, and then the Nintendo logo. A lot of these reproduction cards aren't using donor cards. We'll talk about that in a second. So you are just going to have a reproduction card. If it has a normal Phillips head screw, it is not a real game. If it doesn't have that Nintendo logo, it is not a real game. And then check your back label to compare and contrast to your actual Nintendo 64 games if these back labels look correctly or if they make sense. Another thing that you'll see in a reproduction cart is they're making them region free. So as you can see on my EverDrive, that the bottom is long, and there's no like tabs on the inside. Now the North American version is going to have the small tab, while the PAL version, I believe, has a small tab right here. So if you see a bar that goes across the entire way, that's technically region free, and that's something to look out for as well. And then going back to the board, if you're going to sell a $100 game, and if you're going to buy about a $100 game, make sure this game is opened up and you see the board. What that's going to do is it's going to cut out the donor cartridges. So if you take a cartridge, an actual Nintendo licensed cartridge, re-put a label on it, and then put a reproduction board in it, You can make it look very, very real, but those reproduction boards are very easy to spot. Go online, Google it, you'll be able to see what they look like compared to the normal board. I definitely recommend you do that, especially if you're going to drop $100 on a game, and these reproductions are so prevalent now. Yeah, short and quick. So those are a few things just to look out for when you're buying Nintendo reproduction, or think you're buying a reproduction. Like I said, they're right about in the $20 to $25 range. They're not labeling them as reproduction carts, so just be careful. If you're getting a game that sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Make sure you see the pictures of the front and the back, and if they don't have a picture of the board, ask for a picture of the board, especially if you're dropping over $50 on a game. Definitely worth it. So there you go, a few tips just for watching out for those reproduction carts. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a little bit. And Nintendo 64 fun time. Always be gaming.